Hey guys, Jesse right here with YouCouldBe.com, and in today's video, I'm going to give you a beginner's guide to subject to investing. Okay, it's not going to be a complete guide. I'm not going to give you, the end all be all, everything you could ever want to do with sub 2 investing, but I'm going to give you the basics. For those of you that don't know what it is, I'm going to kind of walk you through it and explain how you can do this. So first off, let's just jump right into it. What is sub 2 investing? All right. Well, as you know, there are many different ways to buy a house. You can buy a house with cash. You can get financing either through a bank or through a friend or even through the owner if they want to owner finance it to you. But you can also buy a house that already has some financing in place, right? You can, let's just say Joe Moneybags owns a property and he's got a mortgage on it. He owes $100,000 and the house is worth $150,000, but Joe can't keep up with his payments and he does not want to have a foreclosure on his credit report. You can have Joe Moneybags quit claim that property to you and you keep paying the mortgage. You save his credit and you get $50,000 in equity at the same time, right? Probably get a really good rental property, or maybe you want to flip it. Maybe you want to, who knows what you want to do with it. Lease purchase them. Some people just wholesale them. They assign they basically do it a second time. They sub to it a second time, but there's a bunch of different things that you can do with this. It's a very powerful tool, and the cool thing is it costs very little money. Most of the time, you are going to be paying these homeowners somewhere between nothing and I'd say on the extreme end $10,000 for the most part. I mean, whatever makes the deal work, but I regularly, am going to pay somewhere between $500 and $1,000 probably on average. And I may sometimes also pay like a small assignment fee to a wholesaler, $1,000 to $3,000. But again, if the deal works, maybe I'd pay $10,000. It all depends. But the bottom line is it's a great way for responsible people to acquire property with very little money. All right, so moving on, what entity should you be buying this property in? Okay, you can obviously buy it in your own name. You could also buy it in an LLC. My favorite way would be to buy it in a trust. And I'll tell you why. If the property was purchased with traditional financing, bank financing or, FHA or anything like that, then there's probably what's called a due on sale clause in that paperwork, in that mortgage paperwork. And basically what that says is the bank has the right to call the loan if the property is sold. So, if Joe Moneybags decides to sell Sarah whoever a property and he just quit claims it into her name, and then the bank for whatever random reason decides to do a title search and they see that it's no longer in Joe's name, then maybe they have the right to call the loan. Now if Sarah continues to pay that note faithfully, the bank, she has some options. She can still fight that when the bank calls that loan, and there's a good chance that she would actually win. But there's also, there's some chance that she won't. So I'm not really a fan of putting it directly into your name, and I'm not a fan of putting it into an LLC. I'm a big fan of putting them into a trust. And the reason for that is a lot of people do estate planning and they regularly take their properties and put them into a family trust. So Joe Moneybags, if he were doing estate planning, he would put the property in the Moneybags family trust, and a bank wouldn't think twice about it, or most banks wouldn't think twice about it if they did happen to do a title search. That being said, just because it's called the Moneybags family trust doesn't mean there are any Moneybags that are beneficiaries, right? So you could actually be the beneficiary of the Moneybags family trust, but your name is Jim Belushi, just whoever, doesn't matter. And it's just a way to, I guess, protect yourself from that due on sale clause. So again, big fan of putting the property into a family trust. I will do another video on how trusts work because they're very, very powerful tools, but it's beyond the scope of this video. All right, so let's talk about the step-by-step and the paperwork. right? Let's just kind of go through this. How would this work if you were to get some sort of sub to, right? Well, first thing is you're going to find a property owner. However you find him, I don't know. Maybe it's a wholesaler. Maybe he did some marketing, and you find out that he's got a mortgage on the property, and you want to keep that financing in place. All right. So one of the things you're going to want to do after you pitch the deal to him is, well, two things. One, you're going to get the property under contract. You throw in some contingencies. I'd kind of like to put the property under contract and then put a contingency in that contract about the mortgage itself, basically keeping, you're protecting yourself just in case it turns out there's something wrong with that mortgage. So get it under contract, then you're going to want to see that mortgage paperwork. Other people, they might want to see the mortgage paperwork beforehand. It doesn't really matter, however you want to do it. I'm just a big fan of locking that thing down. You're going to take a look at that mortgage paperwork and find out, can you take this the way that it is right now? Okay, find out, is he behind on that mortgage at all? Is he going to have to, are you going to make him get the mortgage caught up, or are you going to catch the mortgage up after you buy the property? Are you going to make him go through a loan modification where basically all that stuff is absorbed? How's that going to work? So figure out all that stuff. Make sure you're okay with the terms. Make sure you understand, is this a 15-year loan? Is this a 30-year loan? Is this an ARM? Is this a balloon payment? You check all that out. Make sure you don't just get a copy of the bank statement, but get a copy of the actual mortgage documents, all the paperwork that he signed when he first got that mortgage. Now, you've got an idea, you've got your lay of the land, you know whether or not you want to make this deal a reality, you want to make it happen. The next thing you're going to do, you're going to pull a title search. You're going to make sure that there's no judgments against this person. Make sure there's no extra liens other than the mortgage. That's the bottom line. Get that title search, make sure everything's good. From there, you might end up doing this through an attorney, or you might just do this at a table at some coffee shop, right? So if you're good at writing, if you know how to write a deed up using the legal description from the title search, and if you're familiar with that, you can write your own deed up. That's going to be one piece of paperwork you need. You are going to want a limited power of attorney. That's very important, because you need to be able to speak with that mortgage company. For instance, if you decide to sell the property, if you don't have that power of attorney, the mortgage company's not even going to give you the payoff. You're not even going to know how much to pay them in order to have that deed completely released, right? So you're going to have your deed, your power of attorney, your trust document, because hopefully you'll be putting it into a trust, and you're going to have your memo of trust. The memo of trust is basically just a little document that explains who the grantor is, what the name of the trust is, who the trustee is. It's not going to have the beneficiary's name on it. Usually, again, you'll have to check your state trust laws, but most of the time it's not going to have the beneficiary's name on it, and that's why that's so powerful. So let's just say you're not doing this at a traditional closing attorney's office. You're just doing this at a coffee shop. You'll get all these documents together. You'll hire some sort of a mobile notary to come out there, and you'll just go through and sign everything, and it's pretty simple. You're going to want to get their information for their online mortgage portal so that you can go in and you can set up auto pay. And then after you get all that signed, you're going to take a copy of that deed, take a copy of that memo of trust, and you're going to record it at your local chancery clerk's office. That's pretty much it. It's real cut and dry. It's real basic stuff. So here's a quick example. This is one of the first, not the first, but one of the first deals that I did. It was a house that I found through just direct mail marketing. The guy owned around $125,000 on this house, and we went ahead and locked it down. I think originally I was going to give him $15,000 to take over the mortgage on the property. Like I said, he owed about $125,000, and he showed me an appraisal for $179,000. And since this time, this property has appreciated a ton. It's probably worth, over $200 now. So we went ahead and inked the deal, got it all set up, and then come to find out that he is $9,000 behind on his mortgage. He's super delinquent. So I gave him the option of taking that $9,000 out of the $15,000 purchase price. He didn't really like that, so I told him, well, if you want, you can try doing a loan modification. Get the bank to reabsorb that $9,000, and they might slightly change the terms. That's what he ended up doing, and it bumped the payment up from, like, I don't know, $695 to $714 a month. It didn't really change that a lot, but they also tacked on about $9,000 in closing costs. So even though that was absorbed into the loan, and even though it didn't really change the payment that much, it did change the overall dollar figure. I didn't charge him the whole $9,000, but I did take the purchase price down from $15,000 to $10,000. So when it was all said and done, we put this property into a trust, and I immediately assigned my beneficial interest to someone, to another company. And how it played out was they gave me 20, I gave the lawyer 2, I gave the owner 10, the previous owner 10. And I'm kind of simplifying those numbers, but that's basically how it worked out. I was out 12,000, but I was given 20, so I profited 8. Basically, I just wholesaled the sub-2 deal. And then I also later on helped with the rehab, using my crew, and did some other cool stuff that allow me to make some money every single month off the property as well. But bottom line is, the guy that bought it is doing very well with it, because the mortgage payment is very low, and it's bringing in $1,500 a month from a Section 8 tenant. So it's a really cool example of a sub-2 deal, but also all the crazy things you can do with a sub-2 deal. You don't have to keep these things. You can wholesale them. You can do lease purchases, you can do contract for deeds, you can do just a million different things with these things. So they're great deals. And once you get familiar with the paperwork, you don't have to go through an attorney for anything other than the title work. If you're comfortable doing that, you can just do everything at a coffee shop. So yeah, that's sub-2 in a nutshell, guys. If you have more questions, ask them in the comments, or join the Rental Property Investors Facebook group. I've got a link in the description below. I do have some recordings of, various negotiations with property owners where I did sub-2 deals. Hit me up if you want to see that. Maybe I'll either put it on this channel, or maybe I'll just, throw it in a Dropbox somewhere and let people watch those videos, uncut. But yeah, that's it for this one. I will see you guys in the next video.